What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today. So the video that you're watching right now was recorded the very day after MX Bikes of Nations. So that would be the 30th of October. Now the reason that it is coming out about 2 weeks after the fact is the fact that obviously I've went away, I was away from home. Or I might still be away from home, I have no idea. But I have so many pre-recorded videos and I kept moving things about so many times to make room for other important stuff. And I just thought, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to add it to the back of the list and it goes out when it goes out. I just wanted to kind of talk about how the whole event went from start to finish and just kind of my thoughts, whether it be about the track, about how the competition went overall, and in case anybody didn't watch it for some reason, you can go and watch the replay on Navo's channel. Moto 1 was a little bit boofed. He was having some issues with the stream, so it's also on Ryder's channel from his POV. I didn't stream it myself because when the track dropped, there was actually a bunch of FPS issues for everyone, so I decided not to stream. But then after the fact, they released a updated version which helped the FPS, and I was committed to not streaming at that point. I wasn't in the mindset for it. I wanted to really focus and get as many frames as possible to race as well as I could do. So apologies for that. I know I said leading up to the event that I was going to stream it, but I just really didn't fancy it on the day. But hopefully you got to enjoy it in some regards. So starting off with track drop, Stone made a little bit of an error. A bit of an L moment. He accidentally uploaded the wrong version of the track, which wasn't password protected. So a handful of people managed to get their hands on it, and this was about 3 hours before it was the event was meant to go ahead, because he likes to give everybody a chance to download the track and have it waiting, so then they can just release the password, people drag it into their game, and everyone's good to go. You know, there's no last minute rushing for everyone to download it, and people with better internet speeds get more time, none of that stuff. But it accidentally came out without a password on. So a handful of people had it, so there was nothing the guys could really do at that point other than just actually release it for everybody, because it would be unfair, some people having it and others not. I imagine that if they didn't do that, then they'd probably get the link re-uploaded and sent around to friends and such. So I think releasing it for everyone was the right move. I myself did not play 3 hours straight of the track for practicing, because I won't lie, I was on my Call of Duty grind all day on Friday, and then nearly all day on Saturday before Nations. I've been grinding out some COD. You know, I think I'm max level just at the point of me recording this. Obviously, I'm missing 2 weeks, which is a bit of a shame, and I've got 6 gold guns as well, so good progress there. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about MX Bikes. So I hopped on the track straight away, and I loaded it up at first on what you're seeing, well, right now conditions, so nice sunny track. And my first opinion straight away was, oh my god, the track is so fast. It's a very, very easy track in my opinion, and don't get me wrong, it is certainly a fun track, it is a good track. But for example, I feel like at the end of the sand that I'm coming up to, or at the end of the sand rollers, basically until the corner before the steep double after the drop off next to them after the mechanic straight, you can basically ride around the entire track just on the gas, you know, with right trigger down. There's not a whole lot of difficulty that comes into play, especially on a 250. I can't speak so much for the 450s, but the 250s were just absolutely on rails. You know, you had to be going fast and carrying loads of momentum everywhere to even keep up. But then I found out that the race was going to be in the wet, so I'd done some wet practice, and I really liked they done it in the wet. More so because I think the wet is a bit of an equaliser. You know, I think it keeps everybody a bit closer to each other. Adds that little extra layer of difficulty that I think the Nations track should have. I believe this track should be one of the most difficult tracks for everyone to race on. You know, it's the biggest event that we have in the year. The track should be the most difficult. And then also, in regards to the 250s, based on real life, I don't think that 250s should be able to hit the Roccos every single lap. That's my opinion. You guys might have other opinions. Obviously, it's more fun if you can hit it every lap, but it's not that realistic. So when the rain came in, we couldn't get over the Roccos. The very best we could do was like frame it super hard and just get a good bounce. And I had this debate going on in my head. I was like, Is it faster to scrub the double and then single out, or is it faster to send it and case it and bounce? And end up being that sending it was the faster option. Now, here's where it gets interesting. After about 3 or 4 laps, obviously the road kicks in with like 20, I think there's 28 people in the race, 28 people all riding on it. The track actually got grippier as the race went on. The base layer, or the layer underneath the topsoil, was grippier than the topsoil. So we then on the 250s had more traction, and we could actually every single lap almost get over both the uphill triple and the Roccos, which really didn't. It meant that the 450 and the 250 times weren't that separate, which made for some really interesting racing. Obviously, they were still 2-3 seconds lap faster just from getting over them really cleanly and getting the speed away after the fact. But it was really, really fun, really good racing. I'm so proud of the boys. I think they rode incredibly. So if I take you through moto by moto, it was myself on MX2 and Cam in MX1 for Moto 1. And Cam got a second in that race, which was really, really good. And I ended up getting a 6th, which on a 250 probably sounds good overall, but I was a little bit disappointed. I think towards the very, very back end of the race, I want to say last maybe 5 laps or so, I made so many stupid mistakes because the road was actually a little bit messed up in some of the sand sections. They would cause those random death holes, and there was one going into the sand rollers, and for some reason, like 3 laps in a row, I kept hitting it and I kept getting kicked horribly and almost going down every time, which cost me a hell of a lot of time because I couldn't carry any momentum through the sand. And a couple of people passed me towards the back end of the race, which is really frustrating for me, really disappointing. Oh, God. That's probably the most difficult part of the track I'm going to throw out there. And I ended up 6th. I probably could have brought it home in about 4th or so, but it wasn't to be. I feel like I always ride better the longer that I play, so I was quite confident that Moto 2 was going to be okay. So we end up with a 2nd and a 6th there. I think the US had a 1st and an 8th in skills and rider, and we was in the lead, I think, straight after that. We had 8 points, USA had 9, I believe. So far so good. Going into Moto 2, which was again myself in MX2 and Hurls in Open, didn't go quite so well. So, whilst we're all sitting in the pits waiting, Hurl's game crashes, so he has to get back in, which already causes him a bit of stress and panic. We then get onto the gate. His game crashes again, so about halfway round lap 1, we get a red flag and a restart. Going back to the gate for the restart, I'm riding that shit by the way, his game crashes a 3rd time. Now, Chicken can't restart it twice. You get 1 restart, and that's it. And I think that's fair. You know, I mean, if it went the other way, I'd probably be a bit upset if it caused any major dramas. But what it did mean is that Hurls got a P28 because he didn't even start the race. So that, in theory, that is our dropped race. You know, we have no more chances after that. So every single result that we do matters, which is massive pressure. You know, usually if you're riding around and you're thinking, oh, I'm in 10th, it's not the end of the world though, we can probably drop this race and count all the others. We didn't get that luxury. The pressure was on the entire time. Now, I was so fortunate that race got restarted. I've just thrown that out there. I was in about P15 before the restart on that lap 1. I got taken out a couple of times just from nothing intentional, I don't think, just the typical MX Bikes netcode issues where the ping makes people not appear where they are, so I was just getting bumped about even though I didn't see anyone on my screen and so on and so forth. And then it got restarted and I came out of turn 2 2nd place. I was so happy, and I'm not sure who it was. It was one of the Swedish riders. He went down on the first drop off and I went into the lead, and to be leading on first of all a 250, but then also to be leading and out near the front in a race that I really needed it for the team was huge. And oddly enough, I didn't really feel that much pressure on my shoulders. I don't know why. I was just in the groove, just playing. I had Charlie in Discord talking to me. He was giving me like the info. He was watching Navo's stream and Ryder's stream, just checking where everyone was at and how everyone was doing. And it was a really good race. About lap 3 or 4, Lucas from Brazil, he was on a 450. He came steaming through. I had nothing for him. My poor little 250 could not keep up whatsoever. And he went on to win the race by about 30 or 40 seconds. He absolutely disappeared from everybody. I myself had a few back and forths with Isaac, who was the 250 rider from Australia, and Wavo, who was the open rider for USA, and managed to kind of fend everyone off throughout the course of the race and bring it home in P2, which I was so happy with. It gave me my like 2 minutes of fame, and people calling me good again for getting a second place on a 250. I was very happy with that. So again, we was in the lead. I think after all the dropped results after those first two races, it was 10 Great Britain and 14 to USA, so we was winning again. I think in that race also, sorry, so Wavo finished P5 the USA, and Ryder finished P8 again, so 2 P8s from Ryder, a first from Skills and a fifth from Wavo. So then going into the last race, I'd done my job. I was happy with both of my results. I just had to sit and watch the race and just pray that the boys could bring it home. So the start of the race went absolutely horrific for Cam. He was so buried, like right near the back. However, much like how he did in his first moto, somehow he was managing to just charge through and drop people like they weren't there. And a massive shout out to him, because his First Nations, he grinded so much leading up to the event. I think he was very nervous, and he felt like the weak link of the team, but that really just wasn't the case. He rode incredibly, and so did Hurls as well. I can only imagine the pressure Hurls had and the stress he had after his game crashed a few times to then go into his race, one race, and have that be the only result that counts for you. So went into it. Cam started working his way through the pack, and I was just staring at the leaderboards the entire time. Skills and Hurls were battling for P1 the entire race. I don't think the gap ever went above 5 seconds. Like, one would crash, the other one would go past, and vice versa. It was really fun to watch. Crash in the same place again, god damn it. And Cam worked his way through, and then for the entire second half of the race, he was just constantly going from 4th to 7th to 4th to 7th to 4th to 7th, just up and down. A massive battle of riders with Feitosa, Matteo and Lucas, and it was really fun and stressful watching it. So going into the very last lap of the race, Hurls was in second, and I believe Cam was in either 6th or 7th. If it finished like that, we would have drawn with the USA on points. However, we would have lost because Skills won the last motor of the day. However, Skills got very unfortunate getting into a lapper who messed up. I don't believe it was ever anything intentional. I've heard that apparently a lot of people have been arseholes, to put it blatantly, to that guy in his DMs. Not going to say his name, just wants to protect him a little bit. I don't want anyone else going and leaving mean comments to him. People make mistakes, lappers crash. Things like that happen. You can tell on stream it wasn't intentional at all, and probably could have been avoided as well, dare I say it. But it happens, we move. So Hurls ended up getting P1, and then it was just down to Cam, and I think they was about 40 seconds behind the leaders. So even though Hurls had crossed the line in first, there was still chance for it to go wrong. However, pulled it out the bag, got his head down, finished in P5, which was enough for us to win overall by 1 point. And I can't say enough good things about the boys. They had a good mentality the entire way through. When they found out that the race was going to be in the rain, they didn't sulk about it, they didn't cry or complain. They embraced it, went ahead, practiced a little bit beforehand, and rode really well. So massive shout out to them. And I believe that is Team Great Britain's first ever MX of Nations win on MX bikes. So just adds a little bit of pressure for next year, doesn't it? I think the event ran very smoothly. Massive shout out to Stone Rider for the track, or all of the track crew for the track, sorry. I shouldn't just say Stone Rider, he does a lot of the hype map, then obviously you've got all of the objects and the environment and everything to worry about as well. And especially like race data went really well. I didn't see any issues, so well done Jesse on that. I saw one person saying his lap didn't count, but apparently he missed one of the actual important checkpoints, time gates, whatever you want to call it, so that happens, that's life. Nothing you can do about it from a track creator's perspective. Yeah, massive shout out to the track crew, massive shout out to McChicken, because I'm sure that he's sleeping a lot easier now that the whole event is done and over, and it actually ran really smoothly. I just couldn't say enough good things about the event. Like, Navo's stream was really good. Love that man's voice. He's got such a commentator's voice, it's unreal, so I really enjoy watching his perspective. Shame that he had some issues with it for Moto 1, but Moto 2 and 3 was absolutely perfect. and then we had some little interviews afterwards in Navo stream, and Cam hopped in there with me, and it was the first time I'd even heard my own teammate's voice. I'd never spoken to him before, so that was quite nice. And overall, really fun, solid event, well organised. Everyone was really respectful. I believe the lappers did their very, very best moving out of the top team's ways, and I just don't really have a negative thing to say about it at all. Obviously I want to apologise for anybody that I raced hard, but I'm sure we can all agree here that for the biggest event of the year, with a potential win on the cards for the first time, I think everyone would ride a little bit aggressive, and it happens, you know. Rubbing is racing at the end of the day, and I feel like the other 99% of the time when I am racing, I try and give people so much room and so much respect. Like if I'm side by side with someone, I'll always let them go first. But this one time, I stuck my elbows out a little bit and gave people a little bit of a bar bang. So I do apologise. Hope nobody hates me too much. But you know what, it was worth it in the end. I couldn't care less. Finally got a bloody win after I've covered 3 years of Nations on this game now. First one I done, I was really happy with how the team rode. We just got edged out by Team France, and that was at the MXGP that was at Trentino. The track was Trentino. I think that was in 2020. In 2021, I didn't make it. I got out qualified, but the boys we didn't do too well. I think we had Rum and Reese rode really well, and then we had Owen on the team, who I think his PC crashed or he left, something along those lines, and he's not been seen since, so not sure. That didn't go too well there. And then this one finally got it done, so super happy. Good riding to everyone involved. There was some real standout performances. We had was it Rax from Team Guam come out of nowhere, literally never seen his name before online, and he beat me in Moto 1 by about half a second. We've got Lucas for Brazil, Feitosa for Brazil, all rode really well. Not Feitosa again, sorry. Matteo for France rode incredibly. The German team rode really well with Finn and Victor, and just really good close racing and very respectful racing for the most part as well. I think that'll wrap it up for me. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the event, and apologies that it's literally two weeks later that you're seeing this, but better late than never, eh? I thought I'd try and make the video whilst it's all fresh in my mind. But yeah, thank you very much. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe to the video if you're new. Have a lovely rest of the day, whatever it is you're up to, and until I catch you in the next video. Peace.